Uh, Assalamu alaikum and a very, very good evening to all the people out there listening to us at the CxO show. It's very nice today. I feel very nice, overwhelmed to be moderating Mr. Wajid Mirza, who himself turns out to be a very dynamic person. Okay, I was going through his profile, it felt very nice. And hello, Wajid, how are you?
Assalamu alaikum. Thank you for this nice introduction.
You're most welcome. Just I would like you to introduce, a couple of important points that you think that my audience should know about your worthy self.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much, Naureen. It's nice to be here. I'll start with a little bit of introduction for myself. I'm born and raised in Karachi, but left Karachi about 40 years ago for United States, and been living in U.S. um, uh, since early 80s, primarily between Houston now and then earlier about 22 years in California and Los Angeles. I'm a management consultant by trade, and started my career within technology space. I had a bachelor's degree in computer science and information systems, and then subsequent graduate studies and master's degree in business. So, been in the space of business and technology. Uh, uh, Very early on in my career, I started to think about how we can extend our business or extend our expertise that we were learning here in the United States to Pakistan. So going back as early as mid 90s, when I was working for Anderson Consulting, which is now Accenture, and then later on with my own company, Arthur Lawrence, we've tried to create uh, value for people in Pakistan, professionals in Pakistan, and Alhamdulillah, we feel very strong about one from a social aspect as well as from a business aspect that we have been on the right path. So excited to be here and excited to be speaking to my fellow folks in the CxO forum.
Thank you very much. It's very nice, and it's so heartening to listen that you're from Karachi too. I'm from Karachi too, but
Wonderful.
currently I'm based in the Twin Cities. So Karachi has its own aura, but you have left like 40 years ago. I've just
I
left
love.
14 years ago, and I just can't forget
Yeah, yeah. I
the
was in
spark of
Karachi when
Karachi.
Karachi used to be the cities of
Um,
light, the city of lights.
yes, and it is still the same.
It's still the same, right? Right.
It's still the same, but when you live away for a while from your own country and your own city, there are a lot of hitches that you're not used to being in a developed country, and then you come to a developing country. There are certain challenges that you've got to face. Well,
Yes.
that's separate. The move from Pakistan on an international, such a lovely, and it's very nice to witness. I would like to know your role as a managing partner at Arthur Lawrence.
Right. Right.
Because you are into
So
management
Arthur Lawrence.
consulting primarily.
Right. Right. So Arthur Lawrence. I founded Arthur Lawrence with a friend of mine, Sayed Zaidi, back in 2003. So we just celebrated our 20th year anniversary in February. And when we launched
Congratulations.
this company, it was just two of us. We were both technology consultants, and we were looking to, kind of figure out how to go on our own. But over the years, the company has grown, alhamdulillah, significantly. We are in space of technology, technology outsourcing, finance outsourcing, revenue cycle management, product development, and quite a few other projects, right? So as the company has grown and as my role has evolved, so I started off very much as an individual contributor within the organization. I used to go consult myself, travel 4 days, 5 days a week, for years on, for a while. And then as we have grown, and alhamdulillah, we're closing into close to about almost 1,000 people now. About 500 of them are in Pakistan,
Wow.
about another 500 here in the US. The role has evolved, and where I am now, and I feel very privileged to be here. To be very frank with you, is that we have been able to build individual practices. Each one of these practices are being run by a very able managing partner type of a person who's running these practices. So we have altogether about 9 different revenue streams, and each one of the revenue streams is run by either a senior director or a managing partner. So my role today is very much I'm focused on growth. I'm looking at how to grow. So I put myself in 3 areas. I'm either always looking for new products, I'm either always looking for new partners, or I'm either looking for new geographies. And in my role, that's what has what I have, I guess, selfishly designed it. So I'm not very much in the operations anymore, but more so in the strategy and growth. Um, so that's where what my day to day looks like, working with the strategy teams and working with go to market teams, working with product development teams. That's what I do.
Very nice, because this is what, because there are a lot of people who are going to be listening at the later stage also. Because in the morning today, I was having a meeting with the startups. We met around 10 startups. They have been incubated in the NIC in Islamabad. So they have certain challenges. They are very what I must say, they're very positive also, and then they're facing a couple of difficulties as well, because the real market feeler is very, very difficult. And as you very rightly mentioned, that you are taking care of the strategy and geography for the expansion of business. Because being in business, it is very important when you are in collaborations and partnership, that your roles are defined so that you run long term. This is what I'm trying to inculcate in the ecosystem of startups, because this is the challenge they are facing. Because they're not defining the paths, which is my role and which is the other person's role, for the betterment of the own business. But I would like you to give your thought for some startups, because you carry such a brilliant experience in the area of consultancy, and the way that you have expanded your business, it is really marvelous. I feel so nice to talk to you.
Well, first of all, I think all praise to Allah, and then all praise to the people who support me, right? I think the first and foremost important thing here is that you have to have the most amazing team that you can build around yourself. And we have been very blessed from the day one. My first hire was my younger sister, who had actually had never stepped foot in a business environment, and she's a partner with us today. But we picked whoever we can pick, and when you do a startup, you really have to rely on people who can help you with. And in my mind, at least for me, I think there's a fallacy that you have to have somebody with a whole lot of experience and somebody with a whole lot of something else. I look for people when I'm looking for someone to come join my team. The traits that I'm looking for, the first and foremost, is honesty and hard work, right? So if you have a person who's honest, and I think in the environment we work with, you find a lot of people who really don't follow the basic ethics. So honesty is one thing. Then the second thing is really hard work and desire to succeed. And then comes intelligence, right? And I think if you can put these two, three things together, you have a recipe to succeed. Um, Another thing that I look, and I talk about this a lot with my own teams is that either you're working in the business or on the business, and um, at a senior level, I think, and this is probably the issue a lot of startups had. We had the same issue for the very long time. That for the very long time, I was working in the business. I was the one providing. I was trying to do everything myself, or I was very much into the weeds. And you cannot grow a business if you're in the weeds all the time. You have to really look at it from a highest level. So I say that you have to work on the business. And again, today, a lot of our growth and success, I attribute that to the fact that I'm able to not be in the day-to-day weeds. Very rarely I get into details of the work. We have some fabulous team members who keep the business running, and that allows me to always look forward and think what's next. What's next for 5 years, what next 10 years, things of that nature.
Very interesting. That means the delegation of authorities and the powers in running the operations has, made you more peaceful, and there's more growth in your business because of that reason. Am I right, or if I put it like that?
No, absolutely, absolutely. And you have to trust your team, right? Whether they are achieving the results or not achieving the results, you have to give them enough space to perform. And then obviously you have to be smart and intelligent about choosing team members, but you also have to be smart and intelligent about giving them enough leeway to go and perform. So I was raised as a consultant, so by nature I'm very critical. By nature I look for flaws in anything that I look at. But you have to kind of let that go, and you have to be okay with accepting the best people can give you. And I think and it may sound cliche-ish, but we always talk about uh, achieving the best and achieving the best, but you really have to be okay with sometimes with not achieving the best, but achieving something. I think getting small wins is better than winning everything or losing everything, in my opinion. So I think
That's a very, very positive approach. Very heartening to listen to this, because I've not seen this positive approach. Because you're saying that you should, give time to the team, because generally what it has been witnessed that the higher the seniors sitting up there, what they do is they have, set the targets and the parameters that they have primarily, which I have witnessed working in a banking sector for 14 years. It's a 3 months time period that one has to perform, and after the third month the evaluation is there, and then they are asked to leave at times. At times some people get 6 months probation. But generally what I have witnessed being in my entrepreneurial journey, what we do today, it takes 6 months conversion time, minimum 6 months. This is what my conclusion is, because whatever hard work you do today, it starts giving results after your fourth and the fifth month. People might beg to differ on to this, but generally this is my experience. Do you think it is like that a bit?
Absolutely. I mean, look, I'll use a phrase. Rome wasn't built in a day, right? Uh, it, 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 everything takes a while, right? And you have to
Yeah.
be that patient. And I have been, victim of my own, I guess, wants earlier in my career, where I always wanted something happen now, something happen quick, and then what you realize that it doesn't. Everything does take a while, and when everything takes a while, I mean, it just takes a certain level of maturity. I guess I could say with my gray hair that it takes a certain level of age and maturity to get to a point that you say, look, it will take a while, right? And you just have to be patient.
Hmm.
And what we have noticed is that any
Yeah.
time we try to push too much, the result is always going to be the same. It's just that you'll have frustrated people, you'll have frustrated you, and at the end of the day, you may either push people out prematurely, or people may leave you on their own just because you're not being reasonable. So I think from our perspective, and I'll go back and say, look, we're probably not the best in everything we do, right? And that's okay as well, because if we're not the best in everything we do, just because we do take a long time, and there are a lot of things that we talk about that we missed the window of the opportunity. Uh, but back in my head, I have that comfort level that if I was pushing it, I probably wouldn't have made that anyway, right? And those are the type of things
Yes.
that you have to kind of just come to terms with it. That you just have to come to terms with the fact that it's just going to take a while.
Very nice. As you are geographically also very much, scattered. So under that scenario, what are the challenges? Because every geography, every location has its own challenges. Any specific challenge that if anybody who wants to go, your advice on that, and how do you cope up with those challenges, and what are those challenges? To name a few, if you can share.
Sure. There's back in graduate school, I read a book called The Prince uh, by Machiavelli, or
Hmm.
and that book specifically talks about span of control for a prince, for a state, and that book is used quite often in graduate schools. Uh, the biggest problem I see in expansion, and I'm relating that to that book, is that people, there's a control issue, right? You can only control so much. Your presence controls so much, and when you're expanding, you're relying on on your general manager or your managing partner or whoever is expanding, either that's a product or more so in a geographical location. And you have to, again, you have to trust your team, but at the same time you have to be smart enough that you're in those geographies enough. We have uh, our head offices are in Houston, and I
Okay.
spend most of my time in Houston, and no surprise that Houston is our best market, right? Just because we're here 60%, 50% of the time. But for the same matter, we have offices in Minneapolis that we rarely go to, or we have offices opening in California, or we used to have California office. We're in UK. So you could see very much the performance of a geography, improving, or performance going down by how much focus uh, I have, or the senior management team has. So in my mind, growth, from a growth perspective, uh, uh, your own presence, and you obviously cannot multiply yourself too often. So your own presence, or
Yeah.
your management team's presence. So governance comes into a big play there as well. And how well do you have your processes set up, and how well you're governing those areas.
So how do you combat these things? If your presence is not there, it's humanly not possible that you can be present in all the areas. So what is one parameter that you guys have taken it, as a tool to analyze and to control these systems? Because your growth speaks, mashallah, awesome. So how do you what is one thing that that makes it different, and you're working for 40 years now?
So I'm a big believer of processes. I'm a big believer of governance. I think I spend way too much time focusing on building processes within the organization. Um, we use a tool called strategy deployment process. So I'll take a step back. We actually have come up with a, a, uh, a framework called the Arthur Lawrence Way. And what the Arthur Lawrence Way is, It has three components. It has a culture because we believe having a certain culture is foremost and most important thing for an organization. We have a very defined vision, and we put together short-term and long-term visions very periodically. And then we have this process called strategy deployment process, which takes our vision and puts it into tactical level. That tool, the strategy deployment process, has uh, 1 year targets and 3 year targets. So we become very tactical for about what our 3 year targets look like, and these are Excel based models, and these they have a lot of details. Sometimes hundreds and sometimes thousands of line items. Identified what are the different things we have to do, and then we have a model. Within that, we have a model to measure the performance. So we run for each one of our revenue streams and our departments like finance or HR. We run these monthly business reviews. We call them NDRs and QBRs, quarterly business reviews. But we run these monthly and quarterly business reviews. We have a very set way of looking at what metrics, what KPIs we'll be looking at. I spend an hour and a half, 2 hours with each one of our leaders, trying to understand if they achieved what they were supposed to achieve, do they have their roadblocks, and what we can do to help them, and what are they doing to help themselves, right? So we have this process, and it's constant learning. We're all constantly refining it. It doesn't work 100%, but even if I were to say 50% for us, even that 50% gives us a far better edge over managing, monitoring, and continuing our progress.
So what I understand from because everything is so much well written down, everything is very critically analyzed, and then you guys must be of course working on the capacity building of your employees as well, on a very vigorous level, because you do monitoring on a monthly basis on those shortcomings based on the KPIs. The training capacity building must be on in your organization.
Absolutely, absolutely. So at the end of the day, and that can almost hold true for any of the businesses, right? At the end of the day, your biggest and the best product that you have is your people, right? Your biggest
Yeah.
asset is your people. So you have to continuously work on them. I would be still a band of one if I didn't have good people with me. And I could become a band of one if I don't treat them right, right? So making sure that we are constantly working on programs for our employees, for their well-being, training them, um, you know, creating a network for ourselves, creating value for that network. I mean, those are very much part and parcel. And again, especially for our businesses, is very very human centric. You see at the back, we keep on talking about human intelligence, right? Um, uh, you know, for us, our employees are everything, right? So it's just like if you walk into a grocery store and you don't have items to buy, you're going to walk out with nothing. Right? So we use the same analogy that we
Absolutely.
have to have enough or every kind of resource that our client may be looking for. Therefore, we are continuously working on reduced capacity building, continuously working on building our networks, expanding our networks, expanding our pipeline of resources. So when we do get big engagements, we can quickly go and expand them, expand our
So, Wajid, how I would like you to give me an insight on how do you network? How do you engage into networking activities? Generating leads for your business. How do you do that, or how do you guide your team members or the employees that they should also be interacting with this set of people? So that more business can be achieved or
right.
targeted potential, whatever you may name it.
And I'll start by saying that that's, one of the toughest jobs is to get new customers, right? In an environment like today, especially whenever we're talking to anybody in Pakistan or other countries, people would say, "Look, I have a team of 20 people. I have a team of 50 people. Just bring me the work." But the reality is, bringing work, only happens, you know. It's a very difficult thing, right? So, uh,
It is.
the at my level that I've been in the industry for so many years, obviously it's a little bit easier for me because I have peers and I have friends who started with me, and now they've all grown to places where I can get business from them. So it's different for people like me, but again, you cannot build an organization based on few people's relationships. Um, we so we try to do two, three different things. We spend a significant amount of resources on marketing and digital marketing,
Okay.
creating or positioning ourselves as the authority in our business, being a thought leader in our business. So we do spend a significant amount of resources
Right.
in marketing and digital marketing. That's one thing. The second thing is, and it works in some places and it doesn't work in some places, but there
Hmm.
is something to be said about following a sales process, right? Most people, and ourselves included, sometimes we don't follow the right sales process, but there are very specific methodologies of how to go about uh, selling something. You have to identify a target customer. You have to have the right positioning. You have to have a right messaging to get to those, and then you have to make sure that you keep on repeating the same process over and over and over and over and over. And I can keep on going, saying over and over 100 times because that's how long it takes. Most people,
Yeah.
most companies, most people give up very easily, right? And there are all sorts of different numbers out there that takes 12 times or 15 times, and somebody would say it takes 20 times. But even at my level, sometimes it has taken me 5 years, 7 years to get a client interested enough to speak to us. And I may be friends with them and I may be talking to them, but it takes, meetings over meetings and calls and socializations. So every industry is different. I think having a very focused
Every
sales approach.
Yeah, every industry is different, but you saying 5 years, I got in touch with a client. After 19 years, he approached me. 19 years.
Yeah,
Lady, you work for me. That was, it was so amazing to witness.
right,
We met so long ago, and now we are, working together.
right, right,
That's the beauty
right.
of networking, PR, collaborations, and the social acquaintance that we meet through different forums. I was reading through your LinkedIn profile that you're a member of Forbes as well.
G.
So how it really, it felt very nice to that you are award winner as well, and your things have been published in Fortune magazine and a lot of other magazines. It felt nice, so many award winners. So everybody wants to be perfect, but it requires a lot of hard work and the time that you have spent in this industry. It's very nice, and I would want you to now shed some light about, because you have a team, geography, lot of things. What is your stance on women in business? That is, a very close to my heart thing. So because you're working on a developed country, and we are in a developing country. So under that scenario, what's your stance on women in business? How do you see how good these women are in when they become a team member? Yeah, any piece of advice that you want to give to them?
Absolutely. So women empowerment is very close to my heart, and I would say my entire team. We first of all, I think we have a lot of women leaders within our organization. Not enough, I must say, but a lot of leaders. Um, but the very basic concept starts with how well is your home run when you were a kid, and your home most likely was run by your mother, not by your dad, right? So women inherently are leaders. We just don't give them enough credit, or we don't think about them as one. But if you
Thank
take
you
that to
very much for this statement.
perfect. So I think when we think about this, but we have to also deal with the reality, right? Uh, Women, unfortunately, are dealt as a second-class citizen when it comes to work environment, for a lot of different reasons. Because they have greater responsibilities as well. We have women who, especially if we were to look at our typical Pakistani household, you know, women are, as most of the places, women are the primary caregivers as well. They are the nurturers to their kids. They're doing a lot of different things. So we feel that a lot of women don't really get the opportunity to really get uh, what they're capable of. So we've done few things. Uh, One of the things is that at a personal level, not at Arts Lawrence level, but at a personal level, I became involved with a group called Developments in Literacy, going back about 23, 24 years ago. This was a group out of Pakistan, out of Los Angeles, who focused on primary education for girls. And I'm still a national board member for them, and we have alhamdulillah close to 150 schools, educating close to last number if I remember correctly, close to 100,000 students, right, primarily
Wow.
girl education, right? And this is all 100% um, donation based. So we raise funds from here in the United States and apply there. But that's just for the primary education. Then at an Arts Lawrence level, we have within our organization we have programs within our organizations to promote women empowerment and education for the girls. We also partner with a program called Code Girls, where where uh, we are supporting an organization to promote women in tech. Uh, but the most
Very
notably, the
nice.
one of my favorite ones is a company that we own ourselves called Monally. And Monally is a mobile application, mobile accountant product and service. And currently, we started this about 3 years ago. It's run by two girls, Farwa Jaffrey, she's out of Wales, England, or Wales, UK, and Wajiha Danish, who's out of Toronto. And Farwa is the or product owner, product director, and
Okay.
Wajiha is the director of delivery. She's a chartered accountant and ACCA graduate. And between these two girls, they have built a team of almost 50 people, and about 80% of those are all girls. And most of
Wow.
these girls are working, are mothers, stay-at-home moms working from their home, providing accounting and tax advice to companies in the United States, right? And that for us, that's growing
Wow.
significantly, right? So and we speak to girls who says, I can't work, my mother-in-law doesn't allow me to work, my husband doesn't want me to work, I still need money for myself, or I would have to have some financial
Yeah.
freedom, and these people are working from 8 o'clock at night or 9 o'clock at night to 3 or 4 in the morning, or sometimes shorter shifts, earning a very reasonable, decent income while sitting in the security of their homes. We are really putting a lot of resources around this product to see if we can take that viral, if I would say that, and hoping that at some point we can go from 50 people to maybe 500 people. But this is the type of work that
Wow.
that excites us. And then uh, just to add to it, because this model is working so well for us, we're doing the same thing on some of our other businesses. We have another business which is for revenue cycle management. We're trying to do the same thing where we're hiring mostly women and then having them work from home. And again, providing uh, respectable work with decent living. Big things for us.
Very,
So,
it is
sorry,
so
Tash,
so
this is
amazing. Whatever you, it is very nice. Is anything of this sort can be replicated in Pakistan as well? Can
so.
that thing
So
happen?
I'm sorry. This is all being done in Pakistan, by the way. So all
Oh
these
wow!
50 people that I talked about, all these are girls in Pakistan. We have people working from Thatta and Hyderabad and Dera Ismail Khan and Dera Ghazi Khan. So if you look at, a lot of them are from Karachi, Lahore, and Islamabad, but then we have people from almost different remote cities as well.
Thank you very much for giving such great insight, Wajid. It is so nice because 3 days back I was one of the panelists at Rawalpindi Women University, where a lot of girls were there, and one girl questioned because the challenges that women in Pakistan primarily have, they can't get out of the house. That's a very big challenge because the environment is not that conducive. We have to be very हम थोड़ा सा fearful हैं to interact with the opposite gender. लेकिन घर बैठ के आप जिस तरह से बता रहे हैं, this is really amazing. Or I would, is there any link that I can share with some of the more
Ab-
girls so
Absolutely,
that
absolutely.
your bracket increases from 50 to 500 maybe?
Inshallah. No, definitely. So this particular
That would be very nice.
product is www.monally.com, and Monally spelled Monily. So www.monally.com. I also welcome anyone to get in touch with our HR. Our website URL is www.arthurlawrence, arthurlawrence.net. I welcome people to get in touch, and we have a very, very seasoned HR team as well on the Arthur Lawrence side, as well as Monolith. If you get in touch with them and share your desire to work with us, we're always looking for good resources. So Monolith is more for the accounting, ACCA, and chart accountant type of resources. And then within Arthur Lawrence, we're looking for BAs, we're looking for technology resources, people with a little bit of know-how on the business side. We're always looking for those. And we do have models where people can work from home straight up.
Very nice. Now, on a work. So, what do you do? How do you have the work-life balance? That's a very important question, which the progressive, ambitious people, they should also have a balance. How do you do that?
Uh, I'm blessed with three kids, and my favorite time in the evenings and weekends is just spend as much time with them. I try not to do too much work in the evenings, uh, and try to be as far away from work as possible. Sometimes it's not possible, but as much as I can on the weekends. So for me, doing a lot of physical activities with kids, going playing sports, working out with them, or just spending time. So to me, that's my favorite pastime. Uh, and between the kids and
That
sports.
is nothing better than spending time with your kids. Nothing better than spending time with kids. Half of your burden, stress, everything goes away when you
That's
interact with your kids.
absolutely.
Um, uh, I would. What is one most important quality that you would be looking for a team member or collaborating partner of yours if they ever wanna be joining hands to work with your organization? One important quality.
Um, Unfortunately, I just don't have one. I have a group of few. But as I had said earlier, I think honesty and trust is very important for me. Intelligence and hard work. I think so. I look for a combination of these three things, and wherever we find it, we become very lucky.
Okay, what you would be advising to the mid-career professionals?
Uh,
Uh, any advice that you think
yeah,
they should take
I'm
care?
thinking to say. I'm just
Yeah,
taking a second to think about what's the right.
yeah,
Uh, Look. First of
yeah,
all,
yeah.
everybody has their own career path, right? But I
Absolutely.
feel uh, that getting close to understanding technical skills, right? Real skills, and becoming master of your skills is what's perhaps one of the most important things. Um, and whatever you may be, right? If you're working on soft skills like sales, or soft skills like customer service, or soft skills like project management, or if you're a computer programmer or technologist, or whatever you are, get as good as you can, become master of your own trade. And that is what I would tell people. I think I find people who have tendency of just spreading themselves too thin, not really becoming good at something or one thing. So if I were to look at, and the reason I took time to think about it, because I was trying to understand, remember, what was I doing in my mid career, which was helpful, and what was I doing that affected me. And I think the one advice I'd say is just become master of your own trade.
Very interesting advice. Um, I would want you to give your stance. These days, what I'm witnessing that the youth is far away from reading habit. They are more into, putting on to the YouTube and a couple of channels, and they would just listen. So, do you think reading is still the most important part for growth and for a lot of other things?
Absolutely, absolutely, absolutely. Uh,
Absolutely.
I wish I could say I read as much as I need to, but I do spend a lot of time reading. I read on a lot of different topics, and I think it just opens up your mind. So, I think there's good to read your trade publications. So I do go on YouTube, and of course on social media to learn about different things. But at the same time, I do I read subjects across or different type of subjects all the time, and for the very same reason that when we were kids, my parents said so, and now I'm saying the same things to my kids. It's just read, read at least one book a week, and read different type of
Yeah.
things, read other topics. So yeah, I think it does help
It is.
open up your mind,
Yeah.
and needless to say, it gives
Yeah.
you a lot of
It.
ideas.
I ask such questions. Yeah, I ask such questions from the industry leaders because people take you as mentors. They take you at. They idolize you. They take you as role models, and they try to practice what you do. How you interact with your team, how you interact with your family, how do you have your work-life balance. So that's why I make it a mandate to ask such questions so that people also start copying, because if they copy something, they learn something. So that's the
Yeah.
positive side of it. I've taken a lot of your time. It's going to be 44 minutes. What is the utility of forums like CxO Global Forum? What, in your view, forums like this. You're sitting in US, I'm sitting in Pakistan, and we are interacting with each other. So what's your stance on the utility of these forums?
I mean, thank God for these type of forums, right? It connected, you and me to the extended CxO forum. Um, I think it's a great platform, and I encourage people to interact more, to collaborate more. At the end of the day, and not to become too philosophical, but life is all about experiences and relationships, right? And so does your businesses. You get to meet people, you get to understand what they're working on. You sometimes create, you have parallels or create bridges between each other. And you get a lot of good knowledge. I was going through the CxO website earlier. You have different platforms, different topics. If I want to get into it, I can listen to them, like their names and contacts there that I could go on LinkedIn and try to connect with. So I think these platforms are amazing, and I'm glad that we have those platforms because that allows people like for me sitting in America and people sitting in Pakistan, I think, and all over the world, I think if we can interact with each other through these platforms, nothing better than that. The other thing I'll just say that I encourage people more and more and more to collaborate with each other. I think when you start collaborating as communities, this is where really you have the best of everything. So that's I think I'll say the final message.
That's such a brilliant 46 minutes spent with you. It enhanced my knowledge, and my CSR. It gave me a boost also to help more women. It was very encouraging, and it was very heartening to listen to what you have been doing sitting there. And I'm a practitioner of collaborations, so I felt nice a legend is doing it, and I'm also trying to follow. I'll try to follow more of your footstep. It was very much a learning experience, and we are connected on LinkedIn, and inshallah we'll try and bug you more for some other venues for your wisdomful thoughts. And anything that you want to share, last thoughts before I say goodbye to everybody?
Um, I guess just keep forging ahead, right? Keep trying. Every day brings a new opportunity. Every day is God's gift to us to get up and do something, that uh, can change somebody's life. So just get up every single day and don't give up. Uh, that's that's uh, and always have a perspective that if something isn't working out, that's also God's way of telling you or nature's way of telling you that's not going to work out. So don't get disheartened, but just go around it and try something, a new way of doing it, or try a new thing of doing it. But just don't give up.
Thank you so very much, Wajid. Thank you very much. And the best thing about you is, whatever you said since we began, you carry a smile on your face. That is very much needed, because it is felt
Thank
and
you.
it has been felt. There are a lot of comments also over there of wisdom, which is very appealing to me to read those. So thank you very much, and we hope to stay connected. And
Inshallah,
take good
inshallah.
care of yourself and have a great day.
Thank you, Naureen.
Bye.
Assalamu alaikum. Bye.
Welcome, Salam. Baba.